Title: The Clockmaker's Daughter. In the quaint village of Gearwick, nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there lived a clockmaker named Elias. His shop, filled with intricate clocks of all shapes and sizes, was a place of wonder for the villagers. But the most remarkable thing about Elias was his daughter, Lila. Lila was no ordinary girl. She had a peculiar talent for fixing things. Not just clocks, but anything broken. With a touch of her hand and a whispered word, she could mend shattered glass, broken toys, and even frayed emotions. The villagers adored her, often bringing their broken belongings to her for repair. One day, a mysterious traveller arrived in Gearwick. He was a tall, gaunt man, with a long, dark coat and a hat pulled low over his eyes. He carried a large, ornate clock under his arm and entered Elias's shop. "I hear you are the finest clockmaker in the land," the traveller said, his voice smooth but cold. "I need this clock repaired. It is very special to me." Elias examined the clock. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, with gears of gold and silver, and faces that seemed to shift and change. "This is a masterpiece," Elias said, "but it will take time to repair." The traveller's eyes gleamed. "Time is something I have plenty of, but be warned, if the clock is not repaired by the next full moon, there will be consequences." Elias nodded, though a shiver ran down his spine. He set to work immediately, but as the days passed, he found the clock impossible to fix. The gears refused to align, and the faces continued to shift unpredictably. Lila watched her father grow increasingly frustrated. One night, as the full moon approached, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She crept into the workshop and placed her hands on the clock. Closing her eyes, she whispered, "Please, show me what's wrong." To her surprise, the clock responded. The gears began to move, and the faces settled into a single serene expression. But as the clock started to tick, a strange sensation washed over Lila. She felt a pull, as if the clock was drawing something from her. The next morning, Elias found Lila asleep in the workshop, the clock ticking perfectly beside her. He was overjoyed and immediately sent word to the traveller. When the traveller arrived, he examined the clock with a satisfied smile. "You have done well," he said. But as he turned to leave, he paused and looked at Lila. "You have a rare gift, child, one that should not be wasted." Before Elias could react, the traveller vanished, leaving behind an eerie silence. Days turned into weeks, and Lila began to feel different. She found herself drawn to broken things, not to fix them, but to break them further. Her once gentle touch now caused objects to shatter, and her whispered words brought chaos instead of order. Elias noticed the change in his daughter and grew worried. He sought the advice of the village elder, a wise woman named Marin. "Lila has been touched by dark magic," Marin said. "The traveller was no ordinary man. He was a sorcerer, and the clock was a vessel for his power. By repairing it, Lila has become connected to his magic." "Is there any way to break the connection?" Elias asked desperately. Marin nodded. "There is a way, but it will not be easy. Lila must confront the sorcerer and destroy the clock. Only then can she be free." That night, Elias explained everything to Lila. Though frightened, she agreed to face the sorcerer. Armed with a small dagger and a heart full of determination, she set out to find him. The journey led her to a dark, foreboding castle on the edge of the village. Inside, she found the sorcerer waiting, the clock ticking ominously beside him. "You have come," he said with a sinister smile. "I knew you would." Lila stood her ground. "I won't let you control me anymore. I'm here to destroy the clock." The sorcerer laughed. "You cannot destroy what is a part of you. The clock and you are one now." But Lila refused to believe him. She lunged at the clock, dagger in hand. As she struck it, a blinding light filled the room. The clock shattered, and with it, the sorcerer's power. When the light faded, Lila found herself back in her father's workshop. The clock was gone, and the strange pull she had felt was no more. She was herself again. Elias embraced her, tears of relief in his eyes. "You did it, Lila. You're free." From that day on, Lila used her gift only for good, mending what was broken and bringing joy to the villagers. And though the memory of the sorcerer lingered, she knew she had the strength to face any challenge. The clockmaker's daughter had not only repaired a broken clock, but had also mended her own spirit, proving that even in the face of darkness, light and hope could prevail.